what's up, man? Good evening. As we got another week two. The NFL is week two. The NFL is done. It's yeah, week two is done, and week three is gonna be Thursday. So we'll have to look over the games on week two, and then look forward to week three and see some storylines, because we did have some storylines. We had some injuries in the quarterback position in the NFL. There's several teams that have injuries at the starting quarterback position. So that's really gonna be tough for one team, because one quarterback's probably gonna be out for the year. So we'll get to that like right now. Let's get the window capture up. Yeah, we might have some sucky ass quarterbacks. All right, hold on. Let me get this the right. Hold on. It's not the right one. Hold on. I gotta get the right window capture up. It's not the right one. Wasn't the right one. Hold on. Let me pull this back up and try to share this out. Share this. It was working before the stream. It was working perfectly. It was working perfectly before the stream. And I start the stream, and they don't want to share right. All right. Let's see if I can get this thing right now. This is weird. No, this ain't right. This is weird. Now it's not working. It was working. Oh, here we go. There it is. There we go. Just took him a second for it to work. What's up, Paxton? How you doing? And Jen Will, how you doing? Yeah, we got some injuries in the quarterback position, and right off the bat, we got this game right here, because there was an injury in this game, as Green Bay gets to win 27-13. As wait one second, we'll be right back. 1 second. Don't go away. Don't go away. All right, I'm back. Had to go get something real quick. All right, yeah, so we got Green Bay and Washington. This was the Thursday night football game, as Green Bay wins 27-18. As you can see, they covered the 3.5 spread, and the under was 47.5. So the game went under, but they did cover the spread, as Green Bay wins 27-13. As Love had 292 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. Jaden Daniels had 200 yards with 2 touchdowns, but Jaden Daniels is apparently injured, and we'll see if he might be out. But Austin Eckler had 8 carries for 17, but he got hurt in this game. I think he's out for the rest of the year. I think he tore his Achilles. We got Zach Ertz with 6 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Green Bay, Jacobs had 23 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Kraft had 6 catches and a touchdown and 124 yards. Gary had a sack for Green Bay. Armstrong had a sack for Washington. And both, we had leading tacklers. Both were over 10 tackles. Wagner had 11 for Washington, and Cooper had 10 for Green Bay. Let's look at the scoring. As Green Bay got to a 14-0 lead in the second quarter, as Romeo Doubs had a 5-yard touchdown pass from Jordan Love. Then Josh Jacobs had a 2-yard run. Then Washington got on board on a Matt Gay field goal. and it was 14-3 at the break. In the third quarter, Green Bay comes out, gets a field goal from McManus. It was 17-3. And then Zach Ertz had a touchdown from Jaden Daniels with 17-10. This was in the fourth quarter. Then Green Bay goes up 24-10 with Tucker Kraft with a touchdown and a field goal by McManus, making it 27-10. Washington did get another touchdown from as Debo Samuel scored. The 2-point conversion made it 27-18, but that was as close as Washington could get in the game. So, yeah. So what's that? Washington still a solid team. Green Bay is just better right now. Yeah, but we'll have to see how long Jaden Daniels will be out. So, if Jaden Daniels is out for any extended period of time, that's not going to be good. All right, we got Jacksonville and Cincinnati. This one Cincinnati won the game, but they're going to lose Joe Burrow probably for the rest of the year with a turf toe injury that he's going to have to get surgery on. But Jake Browning came in through 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, through 241 yards. Brown had 16 carries for 47 for Cincinnati. Jamar Chase had 14 catches, 165 yards. As Rue says hi. Hey! Can we go inside or not? Damn dog. Henderson had a sack, and Stone had 9 tackles for Cincinnati. Over for Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 3 for 271 yards. Etienne, 14 carries, 71. Washington had 5 receptions for 76 for Jacksonville. Armstead had a sack, and Lewis had 8 tackles for Jacksonville. Which falls off harder, Washington or the Bengals? That's a good question. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Damn it. Yeah, that's a good question. Man. I'm going to say Washington. Cincinnati, Jake Browning is a decent backup quarterback. I'm going to say Washington fall off a little bit, but I don't think Cincinnati is going to win many games without Joe Burrow, especially with that offensive line. Jacksonville's not that really good. All right, Jacksonville got the scoring off first. A 9-yard pass from Lawrence to Brown. It was 7-0 Jacksonville in the first quarter. Then Jamar Chase had a touchdown from Joe Burrow on the late in the first quarter with 7-7. In the second quarter, Jacksonville goes up 14-7 on a Tootin touchdown. Then McPherson gets a field goal from Cincinnati, makes it 14-10. And then right before the halftime break, Cam Little kicks a field goal for Jacksonville, and it was 17-10 Jaguars. In the third quarter, this is when Jake Browning really played really well. Played really, really well. As Tinsley had a touchdown for the Bengals, 13-yard pass from Browning to Tinsley, it was 17-17. Then Jacksonville goes ahead with Travis Etienne. He had an 11-yard pass from Trevor Lawrence. It was 24-17 Jacksonville. Then T. Higgins had a 42-yard pass from Jake Browning and ties up at 24. And that's how it was at the end of the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, Cam Little gets a field goal. It was 27-24 Jacksonville. And then with 18 seconds to go in the game, Jake Browning had a 1-yard touchdown run. And that's how the Bengals got the victory, 31-27. Yeah. Did Trevor Lawrence have a good game? It was all right. He had 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Browning had two touchdowns, 3 picks. But I don't know. Is Lawrence is he gonna be the? It seems like he's kind of hit a ceiling in the NFL. I don't know. Maybe he needs to change his scenery and get out of Jacksonville. But, that's what he does. Maybe that's what he needs to do. Get out of Jacksonville. All right, then this was probably the best game of the day. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. Dallas beats the Giants 40-37 in overtime. As the Giants were underdogs by 4.5 points. They covered. I'm sorry. Dallas didn't cover. So, but the over/under was hit at 44.5. This one went way over the over/under. I mean, Dallas almost got the over/under by themselves. But this was a very, very exciting game. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe Trevor Lawrence needs to go somewhere else. You know, it helped Stafford out. It helped Baker Mayfield out, going somewhere else. Maybe Trevor Lawrence needs to go somewhere. Maybe he needs to be traded. It helps some guys out. So, all right, we got the Giants, man. As this was a lot of scoring in this game. As Graham Gano got a field goal, it was 3-0, a 30-yard field goal. He also added a 38-yard and a 33-yard, was 6-0 after one quarter play for the Giants. In the second quarter, Brandon Aubrey kicks a 51-yard field goal, and that wouldn't be his last field goal, as they cut the deficit to 6-3. Then the Giants went ahead 13-3. Malik Neighbors had a 29-yard pass from Russell Wilson. It was 13-3 Giants. And then about 2 minutes ago before the halftime break, Turpin had a 10-yard pass from Dak Prescott. It was 13-10 at the break. Looked like at this point you're like, okay, this game is not going to be like the over's not going to be hit. Yeah, Giants got a tough game next week. They got to play. The Swifties, and they're 0-2. All right, in the third quarter, so there wasn't much. There really wasn't much score in the third quarter. It was, we only had 10 points total, as Javonte Williams had a touchdown for Dallas, and then Graham Gano had a field goal, and it was 17-16 going to the fourth quarter. But this is when all of a sudden nobody wanted to play defense, as Brandon Aubrey had a 44-yard field goal. Dallas went ahead 20-16. Then Scatterboo gets a touchdown for the Giants. It was 23-20. Then Miles Sanders gets a touchdown. It was 27-23. Dallas. Then Wan'Dale Robinson gets a touchdown pass, 32-yard pass from Russell Wilson, and it was 30-27. And then with 52 seconds to go in the game, George Pickens gets a 6-yard pass from Prescott, and it's 34-30. Then back and forth again. But I believe this was on third or fourth down, as Malik Neighbors had a 48-yard pass from Russell Wilson. It was a beautifully thrown ball into the end zone. It looked like the Giants were going to win this game. It was 37-34, but Dallas, they had a few timeouts. I think they had 2 timeouts at the time, and they were able to get in the field goal range. And Aubrey kicks a 64-yard field goal to put it into overtime. It was 37-37. And in the overtime period, they played the whole overtime period, but Aubrey kicks a 46-yard field goal to win it as the time expired in the overtime period. So this was a really exciting football. This is probably the best game of the day. So, but yeah, Russell Wilson had a bad interception in overtime, but you take out the interception, he played. I think he played. A+, but he did have a bad interception. All right, for the Giants, you had Russell Wilson. He threw for 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Prescott threw for 361, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Scatterboo was the leading rusher for the Giants, 11 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown. Williams had 18 carries for the Dallas with a touchdown and 97 yards. CeeDee Lamb bounced back, and he had some big drops in week 1, but he had 9 catches for 112. Malik Neighbors had 2 touchdowns on 9 receptions and 167 yards. All right, so we got Clark. That's the guy that the Cowboys got in the trade. He had a sack. Burns had a sack for New York, and then Adebo had 13 tackles for the Giants, 11 solo. And Elam had 9 for Dallas with 6 solo. What was his injury last year? Yeah, what was it last year? I had to go look it up. I know this year it's turf toe, but I can't remember. I'm have to go look it up in a minute, so I can't remember what happened last year. But yeah, he had something last year, I believe as well. But all right, we got the Lions, and the Lions are 1-1. They bounced back as they beat Chicago 52-21, as they covered a 6.5 point spread, and the over under was hit by a mile at 45.5. All right, so we got the Lions went on ahead 7-0 on a Jamar Gibbs 6-yard touchdown run. It was 7-0 Lions. Then the Bears, as Adunze gets a 28-yard pass from Caleb Williams. It was 7-7. And then late in the first quarter, Lions get another touchdown as David Montgomery gets a 1-yard TD run. It was 14-7 Lions. So let's see. In the second quarter, Brock Wright had an 8-yard pass from Jared Goff. It was 21-7. Then Adunze, another touchdown, 6-yard touchdown pass from Caleb Williams. It was 21-14. Still Detroit up. But Detroit's offense was just on fire Sunday as Amon-Ra St. Brown gets a touchdown. Bates gets a field goal, and it's 31-14. Then Jameson Williams, another touchdown. All of a sudden, it's 38-14. As you can see, it goes from there to 45-14 as Amon-Ra St. Brown gets another touchdown from Jared Goff. And then we had a touchdown by DeAndre Swift and also Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it was 52-21 Detroit. Defunk the Bears. All right, we got Caleb Williams had 2 touchdowns in the pit, threw for 207 yards. Swift had 12 carries for 63. Adunze, 7 catches, 2 touchdowns for 128 yards. Bears did not register a sack in the game. And Briscoe had 9 tackles. Over for the Lions, he had Jared Goff threw for 5 touchdowns. Another player that's another quarterback that's got traded to another team and has played better with Detroit than he did with the Rams. So that's my opinion anyway. But Jared Goff threw for 5 touchdowns, 334 yards. Jamar Gibbs 12 carries, 94 yards and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown 9 catches and 3 touchdowns for $115. Muhammad had a sack, and Campbell had 8 tackles, 4 solo for the Lions. All right, man. So we got next. We got the Rams and the Titans. That's Paxton's favorite team. As the Rams go to 2-0, they win 33-19 over the Tennessee Titans. As you look at the point spread, as the Rams covered the 5.5, and the over was also hit in this game. Over under was 40.5, and you can see we're way over 40. The Rams almost got to 40 by themselves. All right, we got Nchua had a 45-yard run, made it 7-0 Rams in the first quarter. In the second quarter, you had a field goal by Joey Sly. For the Titans, it was 7-3, and then Joshua Carty gets a field goal. It's now 10-3 Rams, and then with 38 seconds to go in the half, you get a touchdown by Ayo Manor from Cam Ward. But then I guess they get the ball back. I guess they had a turnover, and it was 13-10 Titans going into the halftime break. But in the third quarter, you can see Titans got outscored 23-6. As Carty had a field goal, Sly had a field goal, and then Davis Allen had a touchdown from Matthew Stafford. It was 20-16 after 3 quarters of play. In the fourth quarter, Devontae Adams had a 16-yard pass from Stafford. Blake Corum had a 1-yard touchdown run. All of a sudden, it was 33-16, and that was all she wrote in the for this game. And the Titans got a field goal about 2:40 to go, 35-yard field goal by Joey Sly. All right, let's look at the stats. As Matthew Stafford threw for 2 touchdowns and a pick, 298 yards. Williams had 17 carries, 66 for the Rams. Devontae Adams, 6 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Young had 2 sacks. Kitchens had 10 tackles and 7 solo. Over for the Titans, Cam Ward had 175 yards. He did have a touchdown, excuse me. He was 19 for 33, 1 touchdown, and 175 yards. Then you had Pollard, 20 carries for 92. Ridley, 3 catches for 57. Hooker had a sack for Titans, and then Hooker was also the leading tackler with 8. Yeah. Will Levis is somewhere laughing. Yeah. Isn't he hurt? He got traded or did he get hurt? I can't remember what happened to him. All right, we'll get the Patriots and the Dolphins. Miami's 0-2 on the season. As New England wins 33-27. As I thought this game would go. I thought this game would go the other way. I thought Miami would actually beat the Patriots at home, but Dolphins are 0-2. Dolphins are 0-2. As you can see, the Patriots were underdogs in this game by 2.5. So of course the Dolphins didn't cover. They didn't win. They didn't cover. But the over was hit. 42.5 was the over/under. Man, a lot of these games have gone. A lot of these last several games have gone over the point spread. So let's look at the scoring plays. As the Patriots got up to a 12-0 lead, as Matt Collins gets an 8-yard pass from Drake May. The PAT was failed, and then Kayshon Boutte gets another touchdown. And guess what? Another PAT failed. Boy, man, are they looking for a new field? Are they looking for another kicker? Man, you missed two PATs back to back. Man, that's a fireable offense. Then the Dolphins come back in the second quarter as Jalen Waddle had an 18-yard pass from Tua. It was 12-7. But then Baralgus makes a field goal for the Patriots. It's now 15-7. But Devon Achane had a 29-yard pass from Tua. It was 15-14. And that's how it was at the halftime break. In the third quarter, the Dolphins actually come out hot, come scoring first as Riley Patterson had a field goal, 2 field goals to be exact. One from 40, one from 44, and it was 20-15 Miami. No, late in the third quarter, but then right before the third quarter ends, the Patriots get a touchdown as Drake May gets a 6-yard TD run, and they go for 2 and they get it. It's now 23-20. In the fourth quarter, you had Malik Washington had a punt return for the Dolphins. It was 27-13, and then you get a kickoff return. Then you get a kickoff return for the Patriots, and it's now 30-27. A 90-yard kickoff return by Gibson, and then late in the fourth quarter, they add another field goal to make it 33-27. But man, yeah. So man, look at that. You got special teams back to back, a punt and then kickoff return back to back. All right, we got Tua. Tua had 315 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and a pick. What's up, Steve? How you doing? And then you had Achane with 11 carries, 30 yards. Not much running the ball there. Neither team ran the ball particularly well. Then you got Tyreek Hill had 6 catches for $109. Chubb had a sack for Miami. And then Dotson had 9 tackles, 6 solo. Over for the Patriots, Drake May had 2 touchdowns and 230 yards passing. Ramondre Stevenson, 11 carries for 54. He also was leading receiver with 5 for 88. Williams had 2 sacks. Hawkins had 8 tackles for New England. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering. The Miami coach might be, he might be next in line getting fired. All right, here, let's look at this game here. Hey, San Francisco and the Saints. Saints fall to 0-2 as third down defense just doomed the Saints Sunday. As San Francisco wins 26-21. As the 49ers were 2.5-point favorites, they covered the spread, and the over was hit 40.5. I thought this over was not going to be hit. I didn't think either team. I didn't think either team was going to get in the 20s, but they both got in the 20s, and so San Francisco wins 26-21. As Olave dropped the big touchdown pass, like on the first drive of the game for the Saints. Yeah, it was a pass. A little behind him. Yeah, but look, I mean, he's supposed to be our number one guy. He's got to make that catch, and it just set the tone for the game. Groupie missed the field goal on that same possession. Saints get nothing out of that drive, and it just doomed the drive. It doomed the game. So anyway, so we had a touchdown as Luke Farrell had an 11-yard pass from Mac Jones. PAT failed. It was 6-0 San Francisco after one quarter of play. In the second quarter, Eddie Pinheiro gets a field goal. It was 9-0. And then Juwan Johnson makes up for his drops that he's been having. He makes a catch, falling into the end zone. It was now 9-7 with 1:14 to go. But the Saints let San Francisco go right down the field and get a touchdown right before half, and it was 16-7 at breaks. The defense just couldn't get off the field a lot of times. The Rattlers got to win a game, man. But I agree. But the team is lacking talent. But I agree. But I don't know what they're going to do, because we're not going to win any games with any quarterback probably. All right, here we go. Then we got in the third quarter. Shaheed had a 3-yard pass from Rattler. It was 16-14 San Francisco. But then Eddie Pinheiro comes back with a field goal, and then they get a Jawan Jennings touchdown pass. This was on third down. It was 26-14 San Francisco. Then Bailey had a 3-yard pass with a slant. It was a great play. It was a slant 3-yard pass. It was 3-yard touchdown pass from Rattler. It was 26-21. Saints get the ball back a few times, but they on fourth down they got sacked, and that was the end of the game. So, but yeah, I agree. I mean, but the Saints have got this. It's not all Rattler's fault. If you look at the stats, he threw for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, and then Jones had 279 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. McCaffrey 13 carries for 55. So we kind of bottled McCaffrey up a little bit running the ball. Jennings had 5 catches for 89. We had Huff had a sack, and Warner had 11 tackles for San Francisco. Rattler, like I said, he threw for 3 touchdowns, 207. Kamara had 21 carries, 99 yards. Olave had 6 catches for 54, but he had a big drop early in the game. Granderson had 2 sacks, and Demario Davis had 11 tackles, 5 solo. Yeah, the Saints have had a chance at the end last 2 games. They've had chances. They just couldn't get it done, man. So at least we're not getting blown out. All right, we got Buffalo and the Jets. Another bad football team. The New York Jets. The Saints play the Jets late in the year, and there's a good chance. There's not a good chance, but there's probably a chance that neither one of these teams will have a win up until that point. All right, so the Bills were favored by falling 5.5 points, and they covered that with ease. Over under was 46.5, and it did not hit. It went under the over under at 46.5. All right, we got the Bills. They went up. Look, they got up 20-0. As James Cook had a touchdown, Prater had a field goal. Another field goal by Prater. Another touchdown run by James Cook. And it was 20-0 in the second quarter in favor of Buffalo. Then Nick Folk gets a 51-yard field goal before the halftime break, and it's 20-3 Bills. In the third quarter, the Bills didn't really have to score much in this game. As Prater gets a field goal, makes it 23-3. And Elijah Moore gets a 4-yard run. It was 30-3 Buffalo. And then Jeremy Ruckert gets a touchdown pass from Tyrod Taylor late in the game, and it ended up 30-10 in favor of Buffalo. But yeah, the Jets supposed to have a decent defense, but yeah, I think they had a decent defense last year. Well, it wasn't too horribly bad. But Tyrod Taylor was 7 for 11. Yeah, 7-11. A touchdown through only 56 yards. Fields had 5 carries for 49. The Fields get hurt. The Fields got hurt. It's another quarterback that got hurt, right? And Wilson had 4 catches for 50. Briggs had a sack. And then Sherwood had 13 tackles for the Jets. Over for the Bills, Josh Allen had 148 yards passing. Cook had 21 carries for 132 yards. Palmer, 2 catches for 47. And then Jones had a sack, and then Milano had 5 tackles for the Bills. So, man, the Bills. Yeah. That's not a thing, but I just said it. All right, we got Seattle and Pittsburgh. As it was all rainbows and celebration in the first game for Aaron Rodgers, but not so much for his home debut. As Seattle wins 31-17 over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was favored by 3.5, so obviously they lost, didn't cover. The over/under was hit. It was 40.5, so the over/under was hit. But so Seattle wins 31-17 as Torrey Horton had a touchdown pass from Sam Darnold with 7-0 Seattle in the first quarter. Then Pittsburgh gets 2 field goals in the first. Boswell from 48 and 48, and then it was 7-6. Rodgers did not have enough grass. In the second quarter, DK Metcalf had a 2-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers, and they went for 2 and got it. At the halftime break, it was 14-7 Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh would only score 3 more points the rest of the way. In the second half, as A.J. Bonner had a 7-yard pass from Sam Darnold, was 14-14. Jason Myers adds a 54-yard field goal, and then they recovered. Yeah, so remember that? Did you see this? They recovered the kickoff in the end zone that the kick returners screwed up about this new kickoff rule, and they didn't go get the ball. The ball was laying in the end zone. Seattle recovers it, and it's 24-14 Seahawks. And then Boswell adds a field goal, makes it 24-17. That's as close as they're going to get. As Kenneth Walker hits a 19-yard run, makes it 31-17, and he got that touchdown like 3:41 to go in the fourth quarter. So Aaron Rodgers had 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Warren had 14 carries and for 48 yards. Also, he was the leading pass catcher. 4 receptions for 86. Wilson had a sack, and then Wilson also had 10 tackles for Steelers. Sam Darnold, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 295 yards. Also, should say Rodgers had a touchdown and 2 picks. And then Kenneth Walker had 13 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown. I wanted Mike Tomlin for the Titans. Yeah, the Pittsburgh don't want to get rid of him, man. And Jackson Smith-Njigba had 8 receptions for 103. Murphy had a sack and a half, and Jones had 10 tackles, 8 solo for Seattle. But yeah, I think it's something to drink in a minute. We got Baltimore and Cleveland. As Baltimore rebounds from their Week 1 loss, as they score 40 points again. They score 41. Over the Browns. Browns are 0-2. Browns are just in disarray, man. I mean, the Browns are the Browns. I don't think it matters doesn't matter who their quarterback is going to be. They're just going to be the Browns. All right, so Baltimore was favored by 12.5. They covered that, and the over/under was also hit at 46.5. But Sam Darnold. Played well last year, really well last year for Minnesota. And Geno didn't. We'll look at Geno's stats from yesterday. Geno didn't have a good day late last night in that Monday Night Football game. But Baltimore got off to a 10-0 start as Tyler Loop with a field goal, and then Tylan Wallace had a 15-yard pass from Lamar Jackson. It was 10-0 Ravens. And then, with 29 seconds to go, as Andre Smith gets a field goal for Cleveland, and it's 10-3 at the break. But then in the second half, especially the fourth quarter, that's when Baltimore just goes into a different gear. As Tyler Loop gets a field goal, it's 13-3. Devontae Walker, 2-yard pass on Lamar Jackson is 23 Ravens. Then Joe Flacco throws a touchdown pass to Cedric Tillman. And it's 20-10 going to the fourth quarter. So Cleveland's right there. Cleveland's right there in the fourth quarter. But as you can see, 21-7 in the fourth for Baltimore. As Walker gets a touchdown pass from Lamar Jackson. Roquan Smith returns a fumble for 63 yards. Makes it 34-10. And then DeAndre Hopkins has a 23-yard pass to Lamar Jackson. It's 41-10. And then that was it. Then Dylan Sampson had an 8-yard pass from Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel checked in the game late. And it was 41-17. Who fumbled? Let's see. Does it show here? Let's see. I passed it up, didn't I? Let's see. We'll have to go. So who fumbled here? Does it show here who fumbled? This fumble. Oh, it's a sack. It says a sack. Opponents. It says a sack. That's what it says. So, but it must have been quarterback. Yeah, it's a sack. Opponents fumble recovery. So that's what it must have been. So it was okay. I like how they show that. All right. Now we got this. This was an exciting game. Another exciting game. We had several. We had a few in the NFL that was really, really good. But the Colts win 29-23 as they get a field goal late. Like that was like last play of the game, I believe. As Denver was favored. Denver was favored by 1.5. And of course they lost, so they don't cover. But the over/under was hit 43.5. So the over/under was hit, but the Broncos didn't get the win. As the Colts, as Spencer Schrader had a field goal, it was 3-0 Indianapolis. Then Marvin Mims had a 23-yard pass from Bo Nix to make it 7-3. But Schrader comes back with a field goal again, and it was 7-6 after 1 quarter of play. In the second quarter, you had 2 touchdowns scored by both teams. Daniel Jones had a touchdown run, and the Spencer Schrader kick made it 13-7, the Colts. Then he had Troy Franklin with a 3-yard pass from Bo Nix. Made it 14-13. Okay, well, I must have read the score there. And then Troutman had a 3-yard pass from Bo Nix, and it was 21-13 Denver. But then the Colts got a touchdown as Jonathan Taylor had a 7-yard pass from Daniel Jones, and it was 21-20 going into the break. And Danny Dimes is playing like look another quarterback that's changed teams, and maybe playing a little better. It's like we talked about. Trevor Lawrence might need a change of scenery. Sometimes a change of scenery helps these quarterbacks out. Right in the third quarter, he had J.K. Dobbins with a 5-yard run. It was 28-20 Denver. Then Schrader had a field goal, another field goal, and it was 29-28. As the last one was a 45-yard field goal at the buzzer. So the Colts win by 1. As Bo Nix threw for 3 touchdowns and a pick, threw for 206 yards. J.K. Dobbins, 14 carries, 76 yards and a touchdown. Franklin had 8 receptions for 89 yards for Denver. As Trinad had 1 sack, and Surtain had 11 tackles for Denver. Danny Dimes threw for 316 yards and 1 touchdown. And then Taylor had 25 carries, 165 yards for the Colts. And the rookie, Warren, 4 receptions for 79 yards for Indianapolis. They didn't record a sack, but Bache had 7 tackles for the Colts. So, yeah. Oh yeah, they're right there. I forgot them. Yeah, we had the leverage call that the kick was. I think the kick was. I don't think it was blocked, but it was missed, and there was a leverage call that gave the Colts another crack at it, and they got the win. That happened. I think that happened when Sean Payton was here in New Orleans. Same exact scenario where they had a leverage call, and the first kick was missed, and the second one was made. So, all right, we got the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. As the Cardinals go to 2-0, they win 27-22 over the Panthers. As it says here, Calais Campbell's sack with 26 seconds left secures the victory. As the Panthers were underdogs in this game by 6.5 points. So if you bet the Panthers plus the points, you got the win. And the over-under was also hit with 45.5. You're right. You got a point there. You're right. Who goes that hard on a 60-yard field goal attempt? But the way these guys make field goals from 64 yards, but they know the rules on those leverage calls. You're not supposed to jump over somebody and lay on top of somebody and whatever. But all right, so we got the Cardinals got out to a 10-0 lead as Xavier Collins had a 3-yard fumble recovery. I'm sorry, wait. By Josh Sweat. Okay, Jalen Collins 3-yard fumble recovered by Josh Sweat for 3. Wait, that doesn't make much sense. Why don't you say Xavier Collins 3-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown? 7-0 Cardinals. Then he had Ryland with a field goal for 29 yards. It was 10-0 Arizona. Then he got Fitzgerald with a 27-yard field goal for the Panthers, and it was 10-3 after 1 quarter of play. In the second quarter, Chad Ryland had a field goal. It was 13-3 Cardinals. Then Michael Wilson had a touchdown pass from Kyler Murray, and it was a 20-3 Arizona. And then they got ahead. Then they got another touchdown, 27-3, as James Conner got a touchdown run. But here come the Panthers, as Hunter Renfrow gets a touchdown pass from Bryce Young. They go for 2. They don't get it. Chuba Hubbard, another touchdown, 2-point conversion, didn't get it. Then with 2 minutes to go in the game, Hunter Renfrow gets a touchdown pass. They go for 1. They get it there, and that was the final score, 27-22. So the Panthers came back in it, but they still took the L. So Bryce Young, 3 touchdowns and a pick for 328 yards. Hubbard, 10 carries, 38 yards. McMillan, 6 catches for 100 yards. And Unamillion, or mispronounce that name, had a sack. And Morig had 9 tackles for Carolina. Kyler Murray had a touchdown and a pick for 220 yards. Connor, 11 carries, 34 yards, and a touchdown. McBride, he killed the Saints last week. We couldn't cover him at times. 6 catches for 78. Campbell had 2 sacks. And then Thompson had 10 tackles, 6 solo for Arizona. All right, now see. Now we got Philadelphia and Kansas City. They're the rematch of the Super Bowl. As Philadelphia wins 20-17. But look, there was some false starts on the tush push. On these, there were like 2 tush pushes in the game that Philadelphia definitely had a false start on that wasn't called. One was when they scored a touchdown. So referees need to do a better job. It's not the first time that Philadelphia has done a false start on the tush push and gotten away with it. And it won't be the last time. So, but all right, we get so Philadelphia was actually favored in this game on the road by 1.5, and they covered. The under was the bet because it was 46.5. All right, we got Saquon Barkley. He had a touchdown run. It was 7-0 Philadelphia after 1 quarter of play. In the second quarter, you had Harrison Butker with a field goal. Mahomes with a 13-yard run for a touchdown. It was 10-7 Kansas City in the second quarter. But right as the second quarter ended, Jake Elliott kicks a 58-yard field goal, and we're tied at 10 at the break. In the third quarter is Jake Elliott gets a 51-yard field goal, and the Eagles led 13-10. But in the fourth quarter, this drive before this, this drive here, before that is when the Chiefs had the ball and they threw the interceptions off of Kelsey's hand into the end zone. It gets picked off, and Philadelphia gets the ball back, and this is when they go score the touchdown to make it 20-10. But this is when they had the false start on the tush push that should have put it back 5 yards, and it maybe would have tried a field goal. Which is a bad call by the refs. But anyway, then Thornton had a 49-yard pass from Mahomes with 3 minutes to go in the game, and it was 20-17. But that's as closest as this game got. All right, so Jalen Hurts, he didn't throw the ball particularly well for many yards anyway. Threw for 101 yards. Barkley had 22 carries, a touchdown, and 88 yards on the ground. Devontae Smith had 4 receptions for 53. Ojimo had 1 sack, and DeJean had 8 tackles for Philadelphia. Over for the Chiefs, Mahomes had a touchdown and a pick, threw for 187. He also was the leading ball carrier, 7 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. That's got to change. Mahomes can't be their leading ball carrier. He can't. Kelsey had 4 receptions for 61, but he had a big drop late in the game. They went off his hands. It probably should have been a touchdown. And then Norman Lott had a sack, and Connor had 9 tackles for the Chiefs. But all right, then we got the Sunday night football game. As Atlanta gets to win 22-6. As someone left me a comment on my picks last week, Paxton, and said I was an idiot for picking Atlanta over Minnesota. I said, oh well, I guess we'll see, won't we? But Atlanta did win. They win 22-6. As J.J. McCarthy gets hurt in this game, and he's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. So another quarterback is going to be hurt. I think this is going to be bad for Minnesota. Just don't know if they're going to be able to win any games with their backup, but we'll see. So Minnesota was favored by 3.5. So they didn't win. So obviously they didn't cover. And the over/under was 44.5, and that went way under. Wasn't even close. So Atlanta led at 6-0 after the first quarter as Parker Romo just signed by Atlanta. He comes in. I think he makes 5 field goals for the Dirty Birds. In the second quarter, he had Will Reichert with a field goal, Romo with another one, and Reichert with one right before the halftime break. It was 9-6 at the break. In the third quarter, Romo gets another field goal. Fourth quarter, Romo another field goal. It's now 15-6. So 15-6. Derek Carr. Yeah, he says he wants to play all of a sudden, which I don't get that. It was 15-6. But then late in the fourth quarter, Algier gets a 5-yard run. And it was 22-6 Atlanta, and that was the final score. But J.J. McCarthy threw for 158 yards, 2 interceptions, and he had a really off night. Look, he was off last week until the fourth quarter. He couldn't throw the ball last week until the fourth quarter. Then all of a sudden the Bears quit playing defense. But Mason had 9 carries for 30 yards for Minnesota. Justin Jefferson 3 carries for 81. Man, Justin Jefferson's not going to be a fancy point maker. And guess who has him? Me. As Grenard had a sack, Jackson had 9 tackles for Minnesota. 4 for Atlanta. Penix threw for 135 yards, but Robinson 22 carries for 143 yards for the Dirty Birds. Drake London had 3 catches for 49. Harrison had a sack and a half, and Onyemata, the ex-New Orleans Saint, had 5 tackles for the Dirty Birds. All right, then we got the Monday night games. We got Tampa Bay and Houston. This was another really good football game. As this came down to the last few minutes, as Houston was favored by 2.5. Obviously, they didn't win. But the over/under was 42.5, and we ended up at 39. So if you bet the under, you're celebrating. All right, Nico Collins had a touchdown pass from C.J. Stroud, and it was 7-0 Houston. And then the Buccaneers come right back as Ryan Miller gets a 20-yard pass from Baker Mayfield, and it was 7-7. And then he had a Fairbairn field goal. It was 10-7 Houston. And then in the second quarter, Igbuka had a 15-yard pass from Baker Mayfield. It was 14-10 Buccaneers at the halftime break. No scoring in the third quarter. It was a really good defensive game in this second half. As Fairbairn gets a 53-yard field goal, makes it 14-13 with 2:10 to go. Nick Chubb gets a touchdown run, but they go for two and they do not get it. And it looked like that was going to be it. It looked like the Texans were going to get a victory at home. They had Tampa 4th and 10, and they do an all-out blitz on Baker Mayfield, but they leave the middle of the field wide open, which I thought was a huge mistake. I said, wait a minute, so they'll leave, even when I saw them blitz, so they're leaving the middle of the field open. And Baker Mayfield was able to break through the line, get the first down, and Tampa gets a touchdown with 6 seconds left. There's Rashad White gets a 2-yard run. So Baker Mayfield, he's found a new home at Tampa Bay. His career has just changed drastically for the good. 2 touchdowns, threw for 215 yards. Bucky Irving, 17 carries for 71 yards. Evans, 5 catches for 56. Gaines had a sack, and Smith had 6 tackles for Tampa Bay. But man, Tampa Bay is the best team in the NFC South again. Barring any kind of injuries, they've already beaten Atlanta once. And the Saints ain't gonna beat them. The Saints ain't beating this team. So, all right, Stroud had 207 yards through the air, 1 touchdown. Nick Chubb, 12 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Collins had 3 catches for 52. Danielle Hunter had 2 sacks, and Toto had 11 tackles for the Texans. Being a Chargers fan, I watched this game. I wasn't happy. Oh, man. So, all right. Then we got the last Monday night game was the Chargers and the Raiders. As at the Chargers, and they covered the spread, but the under was 46.5, and it wasn't even close to being covered. It wasn't even close to coming to that point total. The Chargers got off first. As Cameron Dicker, the kicker. It was 3-0 Chargers in the first quarter. Then Daniel Carlson gets a field goal. It was 3-3. Then a touchdown by Keenan Allen late in the first quarter. It was 10-3 Chargers. And then the Raiders just couldn't get touchdowns in this game. Raiders just couldn't. I lost my voice shouting for the Bucs to call a timeout. Raiders just couldn't get a touchdown, mainly because of Geno Smith, as we'll look at his stats in a minute. But Carlson had a field goal, make it 10-6. Then Quentin Johnson gets a 60-yard pass from Herbert. It was 17-6. Then Dicker gets a field goal, makes it 20-6. In the fourth quarter, Carlson gets a field goal with like 11:15 fourth. It was 20-9. That was the last score of the game. But the Raiders had chances. But we're gonna look at the stats real quick. As where are the stats? They ain't there. All right. Well, hold on. They ain't there. Hold on. We'll do this. The stats ain't there. Look at this shit. Stats ain't there. This team stats ain't in there. Oh, man. Something's not right. Let me refresh. Something's not right with the stats. Yeah, something's not right. It's not showing the stats. That's crazy. Well, can't go over the stats, can we? I think Geno Smith had like 3 interceptions. I think Geno had 3 interceptions in this game. But that's crazy. The stats ain't there. Stats ain't there. Oh well. All right. Well, there's that. Guess we can't go over the stats. Thanks, ESPN. Man, I gotta keep backing up to the. Come on. Yeah, see the stats even down here. Hmm. Well, that's kind of weird. All right, let's go to week 3. Let's look at week 3, and we'll preview week number 3. As we got on Thursday, we got Miami and Buffalo. I'll be right. I gotta get something to drink. Be right back. All right, I get something to drink real quick. All right, let's look at these let's look at these games here on Thursday. As uh well, yeah, the injury for the man that was the Khalil Mack. Hi, Marie. I saw there was somebody had posted a still shot of his arm. I'm not going to show it, but it didn't look good at all. Yeah, somebody showed a still shot of his arm when he got sandwiched in, whatever, and that didn't look good at all. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not showing that. All right, we got the Dolphins and the Bills. The Bills are a 12.5 point favorite at home, and the over under is 49.5. I'm gonna say the Bills cover the spread. I've said it time and time again. On Thursdays, the road team is in a disadvantage because they got to travel on a short week. The Buffalo's been home so Buffalo's been home. So give me Buffalo in this game. I would think, and I'm gonna lay the points. I'm gonna lay the points. But I don't think Miami's going to score enough for the over under. I don't think Miami's going to score. I don't think Miami. So yeah, I haven't picked mine yet, but I'll have my picks out tomorrow. I'll have my video where I do the picks tomorrow. All right, we got Green Bay and Cleveland. Man, Green Bay against Cleveland, as Green Bay is a 7.5 point favorite over the Browns. And the over/under is 41.5. Man, I think Green Bay covers the spread. Man, I just think Green Bay. I think they cover the spread, but I think they cover the over/under 41.5. I don't know if Cleveland's going to score enough to get the over hit, but I like Green Bay minus 7.5. I like Green Bay. I like Green Bay. Here you go, Paxton. You got the Colts and the Titans. The Colts are only a 3.5 point favorite on the road against the Titans, who are 0-2. As man, this is interesting, man. I like the Colts in this game. I like the Colts in this game. I also like the over in this game. Yeah. I like they can cover that. They can cover that 3.5 spread, and I like the over also this game. Like the over. All right, we got Cincinnati and Minnesota. As both these teams are going to be starting backup quarterbacks. As Minnesota is a 3.5-point favorite at home against Cincinnati. But I like the way Jake Browning, has played this past weekend against Jacksonville. I'm not too confident with the Vikings and their offense. They had problems with J.J. McCarthy as their starting quarterback. So I don't know. I don't know about that one. I'm not really sure about this game, but this should be a very interesting game with two backup quarterbacks playing. All right, and we got Pittsburgh and New England. As Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, they're a 1.5 favorite on the road. Over under is 44 and a half. Man, I like the over in this game. I think I like the over in this game. And then the 1.5, man, that's not really much giving up. And that's not really much giving up. But I do like the over this game. We got Los Angeles and Philadelphia. Hold on. I think it's just a bug on my screen. I can't get them off. All right, so the Eagles are 3.5-point favorites at home against the Rams. Both teams are coming in at 2-0. And the over-under is 44 and a half. So, 44 and a half. So, man, look at the money line bets. Philadelphia is minus 190. Rams are plus 160. So, I think this is going to be a really good game. Can Philadelphia stay undefeated at home? And the odds makers sure think they are. I think this is another game that could go over. It's 44 and a half. I kind of like the over-under in this game, too. But don't take my word for it. All right. Then we got Tampa Bay and the Jets. Now, this... Man, I'm surprised. I'm surprised Tampa's only favored by 6.5 in this game. I'm really surprised at that. I thought this would be a lot. I thought this would be more like 8, maybe 9, 8 or 9. I mean the Jets aren't that good, man. So. Yeah, I don't, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. The over-under is 44 and a half. This is a scenario where I don't know if the Jets are going to score enough. So, if I was going to bet anything, I'd probably bet the under in this game. And, the point spread 6.5. We got the Vegas Raiders and the Washington Commanders. As the Commanders are a 3.5-point favorite at home over the Raiders. As can Geno Smith not throw those 3 interceptions. And Jaden Daniels. What's his stats going to be long term for the Commanders? As it opened at 6.5, it's now at 3.5. The over/under is 44.5. I'd hammer the under probably in this game. Jane Daniels doesn't play, and Geno Smith, it looks like he's regressed a little bit. I think the under is the play in this one. All right. Then we got the Falcons and the Panthers. Atlanta's a 5.5 favorite on the road. Over/under is 43.5. It opened at 3.5, and it shot up to 5.5. Atlanta's really Atlanta should have beat Tampa the first week, but they didn't. But they did get a big win against Minnesota on Sunday night, and they're favored by 5.5 points. The over/under is 43.5. Man. Another game where I think this game could be under. Just don't know if Atlanta's got a decent defense this year. That might be under. What's up, Willie Snyder? What's up, Willie Snyder? How you doing? We got Jacksonville and Houston, and I found out. Yeah, I did find out where that league is. It was on my desktop, so I'm gonna go look at the trade that you sent me, because I see it here. When I look at the games, I can see it here. See, I can see it here. So it's on here. So that's where it is. So I didn't know all that. So I'm glad you told me that, though, because I never would have known. I would have played the whole season and wouldn't known I was in the league. All right, we got the Jaguars and the Texans. Man, Jacksonville is actually favored in this game by 1.5. This is kind of... I don't know about this. I mean, Vegas is Vegas, and they usually, they're pretty smart, man. Vegas is pretty smart, and there's a reason why I guess there's a reason why Jacksonville is a 1.5 favorite in this game, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm in 4th place without even trying. Imagine what I can do if I try. I don't know about this game, Willie. The over/under is 43.5. Man, that's only. I can see the over being hit, but I'm not too. I don't see what Vegas sees. I don't see what Vegas sees. But they're a lot smarter than me. They're a lot smarter than I should say. All right, now we're getting to late games. We got the Chargers and the Broncos. This could be a good game. 1-1 Denver versus 2-0 LA. Chargers are a 2.5 point favorites, and the over/under is 45.5. So man, I'm taking the Jags, says Willie. I'm taking the Jags. Wow. Hey, your line of thinking is what Vegas is. But I don't know, man. Like I said, Vegas is a lot smarter than I am, so I'm not gonna call them idiots because they're not. But anyway, in this game, you got the Chargers a 2.5 point favorite at home against. See, this I agree with. Chargers got a good defense, but Khalil Mack is going to be out, so I don't think Khalil Mack is playing for a while for the Chargers. But I think but Denver was my sneaky pick to start the season to maybe get to that AFC Championship game this year. Denver was my sleeper pick. I mean, they probably should have won last week, but they didn't. They 1-1. Man, but Chargers to me, it's tough, man. It's just a tough game, man. This is a tough game. I'm taking the Broncos on this one. That means, I can see it. I think this game is going to be really close. The point spread's 2.5. So, when I make my picks tomorrow, I guess we'll find out. But all right, we got here we go. We got the Saints and the Seahawks. So this one is Seattle is a 7.5 point favorite, and the over/under is 41.5. I might take Seattle and lay the points. Saints I just don't see how they're going to score points on the road. I think this is going to be a blowout loss for the Saints. I think they might lose by like 17 points or 20. I think this is going to be. We never play well up in Seattle ever. We had that one win. I think that's when Breeze was hurt. I think Breeze was hurt, and that's when we had Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback. We actually won that game, but that's what was Sean Payton. And I think this is gonna be a. I think this is gonna be a bad game for the Saints. Do you think the Saints are gonna cover? Man, if the Saints lose by 6 points, I'd be happy. All right, we got Dallas and Chicago. Dallas is 1-1. Chicago is 0-2. And the Bears are a 1.5 favorite at home. Look at the over/under. Vegas thinks there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. 49.5. Man, Vegas is really. Man, this is. I don't. Now, see, this is the point spread that makes you scratch your head a little bit. Just to me, anyway. I know the Bears are 0-2, but the Cowboys, man. You tell me the Cowboys are getting 1.5? I might have to take the Cowboys in 1.5, man. I might have to take the Cowboys in 1.5. I don't. All right, we got San Francisco and Arizona. Now this game is going to be really interesting because, of course, San Francisco doesn't have. I don't know if they're going to have. No, they're not. They don't have George Kittle. He's on IR. Not going to have Kittle or Brock Purdy. And Frisco is a 1.5 favorite at home. It opened. Looks like it opened. Arizona was the favorite with a 1.5. Man, I kind of like Arizona in this game. I kind of like Arizona because, the Saints had any kind of defense, they probably win that game against San Francisco. Our third down defense was horrible, and I think Arizona is they are a better team than the Saints. They beat the Saints. Man, but I don't see how Frisco's favored, but I guess they're at home. That's why they give them the benefit of the doubt. But we got the Giants and the Chiefs. Chiefs are 0-2. Giants are 0-2. So somebody is getting a win. Somebody's getting a win, and it's probably going to be Kansas City. You got San Francisco by 2. Yeah, Kansas City is probably going to beat. They're not. I mean, they can't go. They're not going. They're not going to win 3, are they? But the Giants played really well against Dallas. They did score some points against the Cowboys. To the Giants. So this game might be closer than what the experts think. Now they have a 6.5 point spread for the Swifties, and the over under is 45.5. Man, the over looks. If I was going to bet, I'd probably bet the over. I think the over has a really good chance of hitting there. So, yeah, don't start any Kansas City running backs. Yeah, I agree. Don't start any. All right, we got one more game left, and this is the Monday night football game, and it's going to be the Detroit Lions against the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be in Baltimore, and man, Baltimore is a 4.5 point favorite at home. Over under is 52.5. Man. 52.5. So Detroit's are 1-1. Baltimore's 1-1, so they both coming off a win this past weekend. As the spread has come down a point since it started. It was 5.5, went down to 4.5. And the over-under, man, 50, man, that's a lot of points, man. But there might be a lot of points scored in this game. I mean, Baltimore scored in the 40s both their games. Detroit just scored a ton in their this past weekend. The 52.5 might go over this game. Yeah. Yeah. So I just did this game might go over. I could see it. Because like I said, Baltimore scored 40 points in both their games. And Detroit just scored a ton in their game over the weekend. So man. But that's it, man. That's the week 2 roundup, week 3 preview. So yeah, tomorrow's gonna be the SEC huddle. We'll go over we'll look over at the SEC games from the past weekend and look forward to this weekend. And then I'll make my picks. And then I'll have my NFL. I'll make another video, separate video from NFL picks. So, but breaking news: DB Eagles defensive back Cooper DeJean has undergone season-ending on a torn meniscus. Damn! Wow, that sucks, man. Yeah, didn't he like lead the team in tackles this past weekend? I think that sucks, man. For Cooper DeJean. Damn, oh man. A lot of injuries over the weekend to quarterbacks, and the Saints lost a defensive lineman. To a season-ending injury. A lot of injuries over the weekend. Man, a lot of injuries over the weekend. Khalil Mack had an injury. It's cicada. And yeah. Derek May was just traded to the Bengals. Ooh. Derek May was just traded to the Bengals. That's that's breaking news because I thought they'd be. I guess they want to get I guess they want to have some security if something happens to Browning. I guess that's what they're thinking is in case something happens to Browning, they gotta have a backup because I don't think Joe Burrow's coming back this year. I mean, they said he's out a minimum of 3 months. That's like December. He's not coming back. He's not gonna come back. But man, that's the Drake May gets traded to the Bengals. Yeah, had some quarterback injuries this past weekend. So we'll see. Yeah, I need to pick up a QB on waivers. I have no backup to Mahomes. Yeah, well, yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna have to go look at my. I never knew I was in that league, so now I can go look at it. But thank you, Philly Mike, Willie, for stopping on in, at Paxton, and who was the other person? Jen Will. Yeah, Jen Will was in here earlier. But thank you very much. So yeah, tomorrow's the SEC huddle. It's going to be at 8 Eastern. We'll look at the SEC games over the weekend, and then look forward to this coming weekend. But the following weekend, they got some bigger games. Not this weekend, but next weekend in the SEC. That's when Bama and Georgia play. LSU, Ole Miss. But we got some good games coming this weekend in the SEC. But I'll see you next time, man. And